Welcome. Welcome to today's 1025. I mentioned the author Thomas Carlyle in my sermon a couple of weeks ago. He was the author of that famous book titled The French Revolution, and I shared in my sermon how Carlyle had given his only manuscript of that book to his best friend to read and edit the book here. But how after finishing reading the book and concluding that it was one of the finest books written in the last 300 years, his maid took the manuscript of the book and threw it into the fire, thinking that it was just a pile of trash to be destroyed. Well, there's much more to the story of Thomas Coyle. And today we're going to look at an example that was very near the end of his life. See, Thomas Carlyle had married his secretary, whom he dearly loved, early in his writing career. However, he became so totally absorbed in his career and all of his writings that he treated his wife more as if she were still his employee supporting him, instead of loving him as he should have truly loved his dear wife. Near the end of their lives, she was stricken with an incurable cancer, and she lay in her bed for many months at a time until she finally passed away. After her funeral, Carlyle returned to their empty house. Grieving and mourning her, he walked around the house, thinking about this woman that he so loved in his heart. And he ended up in her bedroom and sat down into the chair next to the bed where she had been lying those past several months. And he realized that with all this pain that was within his heart here, that he had not sat with her much during her lengthy illness. And then he noticed her diary sitting on the bedstand next to her bed. He picked it up, and he never would have read it while she were still alive. But now that she was gone, he felt free to open it and to look through the pages. And a reading from a few months prior caught his eye. It read, "Today he spent an hour with me. It was like being in heaven. I love him so much." Several pages later, he read this, "I listened all day to his steps out in the hallway, and now it's late. I guess he won't be coming in to visit with me today." Carlyle read several more pages, and then he tossed the diary on her bed, and he ran out of the house, and through a driving rain to the cemetery, he fell on his wife's grave, sobbing in the mud, and said, "If only I had known. If only I had known." I've worked with many people in my life who have prioritized their careers over their relationships with their spouses. I've served as the pastor over many members who have prioritized their careers over their relationship with their children. I've known several people who've neglected their relationships with their elderly parents because their careers and self-interests took top priority in their life. So no wonder God says this in the second chapter of the Bible, Genesis chapter 2. "For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and they will become one flesh." Carlyle didn't realize how he'd spent his marriage working on his books or the next books that he was planning, and was neglecting the unity and love he should have had with his wife until she was gone. For death can take our loved ones away from us, and divorce can end a marriage from a variety of less worthy causes. Thus, Jesus expands on this in Matthew 19. So they are no longer two, but one. Therefore, what God has joined together, let man not separate. Friends, marriage is not finding the right person. It's being the right person. Loving in the form of Christ with all of your heart. Placing their needs above your own needs. Spending time with each other. Listening to each other. Therefore, don't waste valuable time spent on less worthy things. Follow God's plan and join your lives together as one. Carlyle learned this lesson when it was too late. May the hours that you spend with your loved ones seem like heaven to you. Amen.